Hi everybody, welcome to today's webinar, where we're going to talk a little bit about Creo and distributed batch and see how we can automate Creo doing some tasks for you. So I just prepared a few slides before we get going with the actual demonstration. So just a quick agenda overview of what we'll be discussing today. It's exactly the same as what you got in the invite. So just quickly something about myself. So my name is Pierre Venter. I'm a boundary systems and technical specialist, working with PTC products since about 2008. I specialize in the Crea manufacturing stuff, smart assembly and top-down design. A little bit more about boundary systems. So our main capabilities: product lifecycle management, data management, CAD design and consulting. We help customers with that. We also do simulation and product development. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see we've got a few offices around the world, few in Europe, 2 in the States, and then 1 in South Africa and India as well. And we are part of the PDSVISION group. So some of the accreditations we have, we are PTC Platinum Partner, also a Windchill Certified Implementers, PTC Preferred Service Provider, and then we're also certified in PTC training on the Creo side, Windchill, MathCAD, and Arbitex. So some of the solutions we offer. So I think the main ones are the PTC stuff, but we also do others like ZWCAD, CMAX and stuff, Keyshot, Bitrage, and a few others as well. Okay, so let's get going with the Creo Distributed Batch and the reason why we are doing the webinar today. So I've prepared a few slides just to give you sort of an overview of what we can do and what you can expect when you use distributed batch. So the main reason why we have this tool is to execute different tasks simultaneously on a certain amount of files. Okay, so you can do things like export as step files, create DWG files. The example I'm going to do today is we're going to run a map key and apply that to a few files. So it's a process that's going to run in the background. You can carry on with other stuff while distributed batch is running and doing all these things for you. And then you can also schedule it to do things when you are not in the office. So let's say start at 5 p.m. and start running it tomorrow morning when you're back in the office. Your files are all converted to step files or IGES files or whatever you want to do with it. Then you can also distribute the processing stuff, so you can use machines that's not currently working. So just leveraging hardware that's available, and for that you'll use the distributed service manager to allocate that. So when you start distributing stuff, then there's an additional license. I'm going to focus mainly on the standalone version today, and we're going to run some things just from my laptop. So the next slide is the interface that you'll be using. So there's a few key things that you need to understand before you start using it. So what is a batch file? So it's not a batch file like in the command prompt or something like that scenario. It's just a file that's allocating certain tasks to a file. So you'll see in the screenshot here, my batch file name is currently Untitled, the marked in blue. So and then I've got a DWG 2D import, and then I've got an IGES 2D export. So what's going to happen over here is I'm going to select certain, or it's going to grab certain things and then import it can be a Creo drawing or something like that. It's going to do or create a 2D DWG from that, and then I'm going to export that as a IGES 2D export. So those two things are my tasks, the things that's more in the red blocks. So those are tasks. Then you're going to select your objects. You can select a configuration file, and then you're going to output that to your working directory or to a specific directory. So there's a few things that you can choose there. Just something that you need to understand is that the batch file that you use is host dependent. Okay, so everything's going to run on the machine where you start Creo Distributed Batch. There's certain files and things that's needed for that. So keep everything on the same machine. Try to take network related issues out of this. When you use your TDD files, try to keep that local on the machine. So Creo Distributed Batch will use TDD files to actually drive the tasks that you need. So this is just a quick screenshot of some of the default ones. So we can do like a ModelCHECK thing, or you can create PDFs files, things like that. So these are predefined TDD files that's installed with Creo. Use them as templates. You can open them up in a normal Word editor like Notepad++ or Notepad. Use that and tweak them a little bit. So the one that we'll use today is a map key. So I'm going to open up some of those files so you can see the settings and things that you can adjust. Yeah, so before we jump into Creo, just a general training thing that we do. So we can give virtual training due to COVID restrictions. We can also do in-center and on-site training. So if you have any training requirements, just reach out to us. Either you can reach out to me, there's my contact details, or you can contact sales, or just visit the Boundary System website, and all the contact information is on the website. We also have a YouTube channel, so this webinar will be uploaded to that YouTube channel, so make sure to go and rewatch it if you missed something, or share that information with colleagues. Okay, so let's jump into Creo, or Creo Distributed Batch. So let me just show you what we'll use today. It's just always easier when you have a little bit of a graphic of where we're going with things. So I've just created a small assembly, 4 different parts, and we're just going to work with those 4 parts. That will give you sort of an idea how long it will take to do your assemblies and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to open up my Windows Explorer, and the first thing that I wanted to show you is the installation information. So when you install Creo, there's a certain tab or a certain option that you need to select. So if you don't have the distributed icon on your desktop, then you must probably need to reconfigure or and install the distributed batch things. So just going to start my installation. So I've already installed it, so I can just jump to the section that we actually need, and it is the distributed there. Yeah. So here's the Creo Distributed Computing extension. So that's the bit that you need to tick and install that as well. Right. So it's part of the Creo installation. I'm going to go there now and show you where all those files are saved. So if you can't access this, or if you don't have the icon, just run the installation again and just make sure you select this Creo Parametric Distributed Computing extension. That's going to install everything for you. Okay, so I'm going to jump out of my setup over here. I can close this window now. Close this one as well. And then I'm going to fire up Creo Distributed Batch. So I just created sort of like a folder that I'll be using today. So all my things are in here. So there's the data that we're going to use, and then the start part, my config.profiles, and I've tested it a few times, so I've got a few extra files in here. But my config.profile, that's the important one, and we'll get to that one shortly. Okay, so let's just quickly look at the interface. So in your scenario, you don't have to have Creo open in the background. It can be closed. You can do other things while you set this up. So let's just go and look through the interface. So this is a new batch file. So you can open up previously saved things. So if you created a batch file, and it's a task that you might need to run at a later stage or on different parts of assemblies or drawings or whatever the case might be, save those files, put them in a folder where you can grab them easily and reuse that information. No need to do everything twice. So save these batch files and then reuse them whenever you can. I'm going to start one from scratch. And the first thing that we'll need to do is to create a new task. Yeah, so this is my TDD files. So I can pick any of these, or you'll pick the one that you need to do. So I'm gonna do the map key one. So I've got a few map keys that I've created. I'm gonna use my default one. And what we'll actually do with this map key is we're gonna take those parts and we're gonna create drawings for them. So in my config file, I have a certain drawing template that I'm going to grab. It's going to add dimensions to my views. It's going to place a few views. I didn't include any parameters because as soon as you use a map key and you need to do some input, then obviously Creo is running in the background. So there's nobody to give that input. So I've removed all the input things, and that's something you need to remember when you use map keys. Try to stay away from any input that's needed. It's going to come up with the error, and it's going to throw that task away, and it's going to move on to the next component. In the example we're going to do today, there is one error that's going to pop up. I did that on purpose. So I want to show you what happens if something goes wrong. So it's not just going to stop. It's going to take that. It's going to throw it away, and it's going to move on. Okay. So as soon as you specified the task, you need to tell Creo how it's going to be computing. So this is standalone mode. I don't have any distributed centers set up at the moment. So I'm just going to use it on my laptop, and everything's going to be done locally. Okay. When you go to the Objects tab, so this is the objects that you need to select. So I'm going to apply this map key to these components. So like I said, we're going to create those components or drawings. So I'm just going to go to the Data folder. I'm going to grab all of these. Note that you can use your Control button or Shift button to select a whole bunch of things. So I'm just going to select those 4 parts. I'm going to select Open, and notice the task status here at the bottom. So it's currently unsubmitted. As soon as Creo is starting up in the background and start working on it, then these are going to turn green. Once it's done, it's going to go to complete, and if one of them failed, that's the red one, and that's the ones you don't want to see. Okay, very important with the configuration files. So I'm going to select a config.profile here, and that's the one in my start folder. So I'm going to select that, and then my output. So I'm going to leave my output to be in the same folder, but I just quickly want to go back to the configuration file. And for the other things, the config.pro file may be not that important. You can get away with the default things, but a map key, you need a config.pro file. And let me show you why you need that. So I've got two files open here in Notepad++. So this is the config file that I've selected. Okay, so you can see all my templates, all my bits and pieces is configured here. So if Distributed Batch can't find anything like a template or something like that, it's going to look for it in here. So that's why I've used my normal Creo startup things, just added the map key in there. And then I know Distributed Batch got everything it needs when it starts to look for things. Okay. So important on the map key side of things. So you'll need to open up that TTD file. You'll see here's the map key that I'm going to use. So in the other map keys, I've got a QW sequence that I've added, and a CDB map key that I've added. So my TDD files use different map keys, and depending on what I wanted to do to parts and things like that. Okay, so let's quickly jump to our installation folder. I've just created the shortcut in this Windows Explorer window, so I'm just going to go to that, and I'm going to show you where that is. So I'm using Creo 7.0.3, and if you go to Common Files, Text, on the Text folder, there's TDD's folder, and this is all the TDD files that you have by default in your installation. Okay, so you can open them up in any Word editor. So let's pick one. Let's use the Windchill 3D export, and you can see that's the file format. So all the functions that's going to run are between those lines. Right. So you can change these settings. It's just a text editor, but when you export these are also things that you can tick box. So if you need to take one of these and modify them, just save a copy of them and then change them to whatever you need. Test it just on one file, one or two files, before you start something and something's not right. So just do a little bit of a test before you dig in. Okay, so that's a lot of information on the setup, what you need, and you'll see in the map key TDD file that I've set it. That's the map key that we need to run. So we're going to run the CDB one. So we're going to run this one when we run this map key file. Okay. I hope I didn't confuse you guys there. But to summarize everything, let's go back to Distributed Batch. So we've selected the TDD file that we want to run, and that's the map key one, just the normal map key one. Okay. Then we've selected the objects that we want to apply that map key to. And then in the config.pro that we've selected, the map key sequence is saved in there. So we need this config.pro file with the actual steps of the map key. Okay. So your TDD file will just go and look at the config.pro file, grab the map key that you've specified, open up the parts, apply the map key, and then save it again. Good. Okay, so I think our setup is done here. So let's run this one. So we can right click on that and we can say start. And then let's go to the objects tab so we can see our little task status. So there you can see it's turning green. So Creo is working in the background now. So it's not a visual thing. You won't see Creo open up like in the background of mine. I can close Creo now on my screen, and it's not going to affect this distributed batch. Then my touch body is done, and that should go, and all the rest. So everything is done. So this map view created drawings for us. So let's quickly go and open them up. So you can see here's the drawings that it created. So I'm just going to copy them into that data folder where all my other parts is. Okay, there we go. And then you'll see there's an arrow in here as well. So if I'm going to open that up, and that's going to give you sort of like an explanation of what went wrong here. So it said it used the template that I've specified. Then it says the save view name front does not exist in the model. Okay, so that particular model didn't have all the views that was needed to place my drawing or my drawing view. So it used the default view that was supposed to be part of a start part or something like that. So it couldn't find that view, that orientation. So it just skipped it and didn't place that. Right, so let's quickly go and open up Creo in the background again. Go to open. And there's my drawings created with a map key. Yes, you'll see I've placed some default dimensions. Didn't overcomplicate it, but imagine you can create drawings like this for a whole bunch of parts that doesn't have any drawings yet. So it's a quick startup thing that you can apply to that. So quick and easy, get your drawings in there, and now your detailing guys can start working with that without using incorrect formats or things like that. Basic dimensions is already there. They can move them around now. They can add nodes, add tolerances, things like that. So they can just focus on the real job, not the tasks that's time consuming and repeated all the time. Okay, so now we've got the drawings. So I'm just going to show you how you can do a little bit more with distributed batch. So I'm going to stop this one. And I'm going to delete this task. I'm going to create a new one from scratch. So I'm going to say new task or a new TD file. And let's say we're going to do a DWG export. So I'm going to take those drawings. Let's say now the detailing guys did their bits and pieces. Now we need to export it into a DWG file for sharing with other people or whatever the case might be. I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to select my objects and I'm going to grab those drawings now. So that's in the grab all of them, the data folder. Remember I said you don't need the configuration files. So this is a straightforward thing. Output, where do I want to output? I'm going to leave that default again, or you can specify a directory. And let's start this and let's see. Is that data folder? Okay, and let's go and start this one. I'm going to go to my objects one again, so you can see it's working on those drawings. And it's creating those DWG files in the background. Okay, let's go back to the data folder. And you can see there's my DWG files created. Okay, so let's go back into Crea and open them up. Okay. Oh, okay, so that's a mess. That's not the right things. Let's use a different viewer. My config setting for that DWG import is not correct, so I'm going to use one of our other products, the ZWCAD product. And I think this was the one with the error, with the, let's use a different one. Okay, let's use the body. There we go. So there's our export in a DWG format. Okay, so very basic. If you know exactly what you need, an important bit is that TDD files, and a lot of customers confuse that and don't really know how to apply them. So the important thing on the TDD files is to know where they are located, open them up in an editor, and then adjust them as needed, and then use them with a config.pro file. Just something else that I wanted to mention, you can also do ModelCHECK things with distributed batch. So if you used ModelCHECK before, and you've got rules and things that's inside of ModelCHECK, you can take those rules and those checks, and you can apply that in distributed batch. Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to cover for today. I'm going to give you guys a minute or two to ask some questions, and I just want to put up my my contact information again. There we go. So that's the contact information. And then I think I missed something. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. I'm just going to cancel that. You can use Windchill as well. So under Tools, there's Server Management. So I've added a server in here. So this is our demo server. So I can set that as a primary server, okay, with all my workspaces and everything in here. So instead of grabbing files from your hard drive or from a network drive or something, you can grab files from Windchill and then put that back into Windchill as well. Okay, so I've added that now. So let's quickly stop this one and let's delete it and create a new task. I just want to try. It's going to grab something, and I just want to show you when you select your objects now, you have the option to go to your workspace. So I've got the same parts in my workspace. You can see I'm in there, but you can also browse the Windchill common space. Okay, so you can grab things from libraries, things like that. So if you need to add a certain parameter to all your library parts, this is the tool to use that. Right, so browse to your libraries, grab all the components there, apply parameters or a view or whatever the case might be, export them as PDF files or DWG files, whatever the case might be. You're going to do that, and then use it exactly the same way. Set up configuration files if you need them, and then set your output as well. Something else that I forgot to mention was the schedule. So you can schedule these tasks. So as soon as you schedule them, it's going to run standalone mode on this machine. Set your date, time, and things like that, and it's going to start up that time, and it's going to run it. So a nice tool to use when you need to do things overnight. That's going to take some time. I like that drawing one I did now. I've used that a few times to create basic drawings for a lot of components, and it serves me well. Okay, that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with the contact information. Ask some questions, reach out whenever you can, or when you need some help. Yep. Yep, so I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. Thank you for joining us today, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.